Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn here on Awesome Radio.
Good afternoon, Winterville and surrounding areas. It is a great day in the city. Sun is shining brightly, and we are so glad to be here. We're glad to be here with Motivations with Glenn on today. We have a great show lined up.
And I'm trying to get my mic to work. For some reason, my mic is not coming on. Jackie, go ahead until I get her to fix this.
Yes, I can hear you. We're going to have a great show lined up today. And as Glenn said, he's getting his mic fixed. And so we're expecting a great show on today with John DeMary. And we said that some have been pronouncing it wrong, Demery, but it's John DeMary. And we're going to be talking about recycling and some environmental things on today on our show. We're going to talk about some new regulations and information that is coming in concerning the 5-step litter problem in for Pitt County, and some of the other things that people may not know concerning recycling and concerning those areas. Even some things that may that will be conducive that can happen in your own home and at your own residence, because we see many recycling bins around our city and also places where you can go and take items to recycle. And we're also going to talk about some of the things that can be recycled. So we're grateful to be here today. We're hopeful that there's a lot of information and some things that you didn't know that you will know and that you will learn on today's broadcast. And so we're excited, for our guests on today, and also excited just to be here. So we're grateful for this information and this wealth of information that we're going to give out on today. And we hope that it motivates you to recycle. It motivates you to do some things in your community and to be involved in some things that are concerning recycling and helping our environment, helping our air and helping our water, and all those things that benefit our community and our environment with recycling.
Absolutely. Now I got some audio. I can hear myself. And with that, we're going to introduce Mr. John DeMary. He is a director of solid waste and recycling in the county of Pitt, North Carolina. Mr. DeMary.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for having me. Looking forward to talking with the folks today about recycling and litter problems, and hopefully somebody can take something away from this. And if one person can learn something, I think then we've made a difference.
Absolutely. And I was sharing some information with a local resident earlier and explaining to her what today's topic was on my show. And she was enlightened by the topic and said, I'm not bragging or boasting, but she said, you have a lot of good topics on your show to get the public informed. That's what it's all about. And that's our intention today. And so I went on to tell her that some of the information I had, people have to be mindful about where they're throwing things out of their car alongside the roads and stuff like that. That's littering. And she said, yeah, because some people just don't want to wait till they get to where they have their destination and find that there's a big garbage can or a dumpster there and throw it in the dumpster rather than just throw it alongside the street, which is I think is just a shame. So she was told me about that, and I told her listening today, and hopefully she'll be able to call and ask a question or two. And I'm also waiting for another gentleman to call to ask you a question. Anything else, Mr. Demery?
Yeah. Not only one thing I like to talk about is people unintentional litter. And what I mean by unintentional litter, if you put your trash in the back of your pickup truck and you go to wherever to one of the convenience centers and dump it, maybe you've left a bottle or two or a can, a Coke can or something in the back of your truck, and you're driving back down the highway and it blows out, and that's unintentional litter. You didn't mean to do it, but it is still litter. And what part of this campaign is, we need to make sure that when people do load material up coming out here to the transfer station or the convenience centers, that they secure their load properly. And there's different ways to look at that. If it's material that can loosely fly out, we ask that you cover it with a tarp and secure it. If it's yard waste or heavy objects that aren't going to blow out, and like paper or things of that nature, but still secure it with some type of bungee cord or strap or rope or something. Just want to make sure that people secure their loads.
I would
Stuff
agree.
comes off somebody's vehicle, it can cause an accident. And
Especially if it's a large item, because
correct.
I didn't see this, but I heard about incidents happening where trucks might have been traveling down the road, had a heavy object on the truck. It might have been struck by a branch on a tree or something that took it off the truck, and it started flying through the air like a propeller, something that was propelled in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and it hit this lady's windshield, went through her windshield and through her chest, and killed her instantly. So this is why we have to take precautions of whatever we're traveling with, things on our back of our truck or on the top of our car, just to be transporting stuff. So with 3 minutes to go on this particular segment, I want to ask you about the tarp giveaway. Is that still being held?
Yes, what we did is we've got a number of tarps to give away, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to around. We were going to do it the weekend the storm came, and we decided to cancel it. But we're going to start with some of the convenience sites. Go out to the convenience sites on Saturdays. We probably won't publicize it because we want it to be a learning and a teaching moment to teach folks when they come in. Okay, here's a tarp. Let's make sure you tarp your load properly. So what we'll do is pick a site, spend a few hours on a Saturday there. We would have our environmental officer planning to be there, as well as myself, and give away tarps and talk to the public. We have a pamphlet that some pamphlets we made up, and we would give those out as well.
Yeah, and that environmental officer, that would be Deputy Wiley or Whaley from the Pitt County Sheriff's Office Environmental Enforcement Unit. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. He was going to join us today, but he had some required training with the Sheriff's Office, so he did have to do that. But hopefully we can get back at a later time and have people call him and ask him questions.
Yeah, and just
because he is a deputy sheriff that wears a badge and a gun and is a part of the sheriff's office, but works in my department.
Absolutely. And just for your information, ladies and gentlemen, I myself and my partner, we're citizen patrol members of the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, and we work for Deputy Wiley on the road doing his job. He has a pickup truck with his emergency lights, and as you point out, he does have his badge and his weapon because he is a deputy sheriff. So he's out there trying to keep our county safe and free of debris. So when we saw him that day, we actually got out to help him because he was picking up debris from alongside the road on the shoulder, maybe like 5 or 10 bags, some tires, and an old couch, things like that, just thrown out alongside the roadway. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just trying to keep our neighborhood safe and clean. Pitt County is clean because of people like Deputy Wiley and Mr. John Demery. So let's all work together to keep our neighborhood safe and clean. What 30 seconds ago, I'm going to get that over to Miss Jacqueline Cullins.
Yes, as you were talking about unintentional littering, Mr. Demery,
Demery.
we're
That's
gonna
okay.
Demery. We've all seen things that have been on the side of the road that have surprised us, or when we've been driving different places and seen, a whole refrigerator or stove. Can you talk about a little bit more about that and how to dispose of those things when we come back?
Yeah, after the break, we'll be back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is 106.9 FM.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Or the station that provides inspiration for the family and ministry teaching for practical Christian living. Awesome Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are listening to the correct station. You did not make a mistake. This is not an error. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn, here on Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM. And we're having a discussion today on littering in Pitt County. And joining us is Mr. John Demery, the Director of Solid Waste and Recycling for the County of Pitt. And before we went to the break, Ms. Jacqueline Cullins Williams had a question for Mr. Demery.
Yeah. Those types of materials we call white goods: refrigerators, stoves, hot water heaters, and the sort. There's 15 places you can take them, and even you can sell them if you want. Any scrapyard will buy them from you, but we also take them, and any one of our sites takes these appliances. The only thing that we ask is any freezer, refrigerator that you remove the food prior to dumping into the site. But we've got, all 14 sites, and our site out here at the transfer station will take them free of charge. There's no cost involved.
And speaking of removing the food from those refrigerators and things of that nature, I have a question because I hope I didn't share this incorrect information with this individual earlier. And I saw, as far as recycling material, of course, we recycle paper, cardboard, aluminum, plastic bottles. I said, but when it comes to the cardboard, in particular, pizza boxes, you might have ordered a pizza, and now that cardboard is soiled with grease or oil from the pizza. Is that safe to be recycled?
No, that the pizza boxes, we just ask that you throw them away because you said they are soiled with the grease and the food. And what happens is it's contaminated, and when they sell the cardboard, the buyers don't want that material in there.
Exactly. And you can't see this, or maybe you can, but Ms. Cullins Williams is nodding her head, shaking her head, because that must have been news for her. So this is why we have this topic today. Was that something you didn't know, Ms. Williams?
It was definitely a subject I didn't know. And I would just like to get a little bit more information, because some cities and some places in some territories and areas do not recycle. But I've seen here recycle bins, the blue ones. And I would like to know, just because of myself who moved into the area, what it is exactly that goes into the blue cans. And so a lot of people, even though we make the assumption that the system is known, it's not necessarily known, especially, when children can help with that. So can you tell us about the blue cans that most of us have seen in front of our residents?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That's a good question. And it has changed last couple of years. And first, let me say that recyclable materials are market driven. So when fuel prices go up, recycling kind of goes up. And then when fuel prices go down, it gets harder to recycle. We take I'm going to quickly give you a history. We take our material to Eastern Carolina Vocational Center. They operate a MRF for us, which is a materials recovery facility where the recyclables go there and they separate them and process them and sell them. So they kind of help us generate what we need, what we can get rid of. So basically right now, what we take is all your plastic bottles that have necks. We take newspaper and cardboard. And the easy way to talk about cardboard is if you look at it and it's got the two sides with the stuff in the middle, like I don't know, it's like 2-ply, if you will.
Yeah.
We take all soda cans, beverage cans, and food cans, whether they're steel or aluminum, and that's what you can put into your blue bins. We don't accept glass in there because the glass will break up and get caught up in the other material and cause it to be contaminated. And then when they sell it to the market doesn't like that. But we do recycle glass bottles and jars. You just have to take them out to the convenience centers throughout the county.
Yeah, and just for everybody's information, on the Pitt County website, pittcounty.gov, I go look up recycling, and you'll see a PDF file that's colored or color coded, things that you can recycle and things that you cannot recycle. That's a very important document to have. Just post it on your refrigerator or your kitchen or near your receptacles. That way you'll know or have a good general idea what could be in that bin and what can't be in that bin. And I want to go back to for a second to Miss Cullins Williams when she was telling about the blue recycle bins. Yeah, they were blue. When a certain waste company was involved, but now there's another waste company throughout the area, and the initials is GFL, Green for Life. Their cans are green in color because they're green for life. So don't mistake the green can for a recycle bin, vice versa, for a garbage bin, because the garbage bin is green, and now because Green for Life has a green recycle bin. Just don't get those two confused. I just wanted to make that mention. And we have 3 minutes to go for this particular segment. Then we'll have a total of 30 minutes remaining for the broadcast. And I'm not going to take too much time. We do have a caller calling in. Caller, you're are live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I do. There we go. Smack my lips. You got me, Dr. Johnson. Okay, my question is to your distinguished guest. Greetings to everyone. Overall, where's our garbage going? Is it being burned, disposed of? In what way? Is it being buried in the ground? This is sort of a green climate pollution kind of type question, but I'd like to get an understanding of where our garbage as a whole, the things that are not recycled, where that's going and how that's being treated nowadays.
That is a good question, sir.
Our garbage right now goes to a private facility in Bertie County. Republic Services owns it. It's called East Carolina Environmental. It is a lined landfill regulated by the state of North Carolina. Yes, it is getting buried. Right now, sad to say, that is the least expensive way to get rid of garbage. These landfills are lined. Think of it as your trash can when you put a bag in there. They are lined with a plastic film, and then clay is put on top. And they have to go through a number of regulations. They're monitored, so they are less likely to pollute the groundwater. They have to cover their trash every day, so they have regulations that they have to adhere to. I would say North Carolina has some good regulations, and our landfills are run properly.
Great. That's great. I want to thank the caller for calling and ask a question. Caller, do you have another question or comment?
That's all. That's good. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling. And we have 1 minute to go for this particular segment.
I'd like to add something to that. I do believe, and this is just my opinion, that we will look at some incineration with trash eventually. Might not happen in our lifetime, but I think eventually it will. And trash can be burnt and turned into power. So right. There are resources that, but like I said, right now it's just economically feasible to bury the garbage.
And burn it, that still will help the environment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 20 seconds for this particular segment. When we come back, I'm going to give the next 30 minutes to Mr. John Demery to talk about the Pitt County Commissioners announced a 5-step plan to fight litter problem. Also, he sent me a PowerPoint on litter illegal dumping campaign recommendations. So that's going to be the next 30 minutes. Keep it locked right here to 106.9 FM. Back in a moment.
Keep your radio locked right here where you have it. 106.9 Awesome Radio.
We're back. You're listening to The Glenn Johnson Show. You can reach Glenn at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was very short because we don't want to take too much of Mr. Demery's time. This is important information for all of our residents in Pitt County. So with that being said, I'm going to ask Mr. Demery if you would move into the Pitt County Board of Commissioners, announce a 5-step plan to fight the litter problem, and then move into the document, that PowerPoint that you sent me on litter illegal dumping campaign recommendations. Go ahead, Mr. Demery.
So back last spring, we were getting a number of complaints about littering and what we could do. So the commissioners, it was decided we would put a committee together and come up with some recommendations, was my charge. So we created a committee. We met in June, July, and August. We had committee members from the county, the city of Greenville, the town of Ayden, tried to get the private waste haulers, GFL, and NCDOT, brought everybody, and through these meetings, we came up with 5 recommendations that were presented to the board. So the first recommendation is that we're going to roll out a media litter campaign with the help of our public information office in January 2023. Reason why we picked January is, instead of doing it now, is with the elections coming up, we didn't want to have to fight for media time, and it would be we would like it to be our own. So that's why we decided on the January date. So what we'll do is we're working on our website updates. We'll do some press releases. We're going to do some digital marketing with the local media, and we are in the process of filming a commercial, kind of like on illegal dumping. So we're in the middle of that, doing it right now with our PIO office. One of the second recommendations is work with our local agencies to increase the volunteers and to get people excited and get people to help with pickup litters. DOT has 2 sweeps every year. They have one in the fall and one in the spring. We were kind of a little late on the fall one, so we didn't get as much help getting volunteers for that one. We're really going to try to promote it for this spring. Promote the North Carolina Adopt a Highway program and work with the high schools and civic groups and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and try to get them motivated to help, because it's something we all need to work at.
I agree.
My department can't do it by itself. NCDOT can't do it by themselves. So one of the other recommendations is we're going to continue to have Officer Whaley investigate illegal dumping and litter issues. We're working with the sheriff's office to start the inmate litter pickup again. Hopefully that will come in the springtime as well. And we're going to try to work with the community service program in North Carolina to see if we can't work with them on getting people to use community service workers to pick up litter on some Saturdays or so.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do remember when the inmates were out in Belle Arthur section, I think it was last year, and they said that was the cleanest that area had ever been when the inmates went out there and start picking up things that normally would just be stayed on the ground. But I want to mention this also, since you mentioned January. I think that's a good time too, because people are throwing out their things for Christmas, their Christmas wrappings that would have opened up presents. Now they have this abundance of paper and cardboard. But specifically, I want to ask you about, what about Christmas trees during that time? And do they recycle Christmas trees, or are they just hauled off as garbage?
No, sir. Matter of fact, all our yard waste is recycled. But Christmas trees, we'll take them. I know the city does. They grind. If they pick them up, they chip them up and use them in their parks and that sort of thing. Christmas trees that we collect and anybody brings out here, we put through our yard waste facility, which all that material gets ground up, and we sell that to Craven Wood Energy, which uses it for a power source. So it's being recycled back into power. Good. And we also have a mulching company that we send our mulch to, and they process it and sell mulch back to the public.
Oh, that's excellent. I didn't know that, so I'm glad I asked that question.
Yes.
And you want to continue with what you're sharing, sir?
Yeah.
Cut you off. We
are continuing to monitor loads, especially out here, for their being properly secured, what I talked about. One of the things that we started is the TARP giveaway program, and we're going to continue that through the fall and in the spring. And something that we haven't done too much yet, but probably going to do some, is I've got some $5 gift cards, and we're going to hand these out to people that have done something right, to encourage. I personally think teaching, if you can teach people positively than negatively, than giving them a fine, although fines should be used. I'm not saying that, but if we can encourage people by, giving them a $5 gift card because they did something right, they're apt to go and teach somebody else. And that's the kind of thing I like.
And we have 3 minutes to go for this particular segment, and we'll be back with our final 20 minutes. But I want to ask you, since you were talking about the fines, for the illegal dumping aspect of fines, it states that all loads coming into the transfer station must be covered. Fines for uncovered loads are as follows: $100 for the first offense, $200 for the second offense, $400 for subsequent offenses. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're one of those people that haul stuff to the transfer station that's not covered, think about that fine that will be imposed. Would you rather save your money, or would you just rather give it away? And I did see something on here about after a certain amount of offenses, there was a 3-year jail term. And I don't know if that was for illegal dumping or just littering. Could you answer that question for me, sir?
It's under our illegal dumping rules are. So that's it. That's what it has to do with our illegal dumping. We have an ordinance about illegal dumping, and that's what's in there.
Okay, great. I knew it was along the lines of that somewhere, but I didn't want to give out the wrong information. So thank you for correcting me if I was wrong. So it could be a 3-year jail sentence imposed for illegal dumping, ladies and gentlemen. That would be in addition to the 3 fines I mentioned. Before we go out to the break, I'm going to ask Ms. Jacqueline Cullins if she want to interject something.
I just wanted to elaborate on that, the consequences of illegal dumping, not only the 3-year jail term, but confiscation of your vehicle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And penalty up to $2,000, a $2,000 fine. Is this 3 years in jail is a harsh sentence, but I believe also if you don't get that $2,000 is a lot to lose over illegal dumping.
And your vehicle.
And your vehicle confiscated.
And real quickly, just want to say this. It probably, if you took the material to the transfer station, it would probably cost you anywhere from, I don't know, $5, $10, $15, maybe $30 to get rid of it. So you want to risk that fines and all this for $30?
Yeah, that is something to think about. So would you rather pay up to $30 or would you rather pay up to $2,000 and possibly having your vehicle impounded or confiscated? So just think about that. I think the safest way to go is abide by the rules, regulation, laws. It's that simple. $30 versus $2,000, loss of vehicle and imprisonment, pay the $30. If it's $30, it might be even less. It might cost you $5 in gas to get there. And if you're doing it by yourself, you're not paying anybody to load up your truck or vehicle. So just think about and do the smart thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's if you're one of those people that's involved with illegal dumping and littering. Just think about that for a second. We have 10 seconds to go for this segment. Then we'll be back with our final 20 minutes with Mr. John Demery. Keep it locked right here, ladies and gentlemen. 106.9 FM.
Keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show.
This is Ruth W. Council, and I listen religiously to WBIS Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to delay anything. This is our final 20 minutes of the broadcast. So with that being said, I'm going to just give it right back over to Mr. John Demery. He is the Pitt County Director, Solid Waste and Recycling, to continue this broadcast because I know this is important information for our public. Mr. Demery.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The last recommendation is we're working with our planning department to implement a mapping system to map illegal dumping and problem areas, litter areas, so we can, so we know where to look. We'll have it on a map. Officer Whaley would be able to, he'll be able to enter this stuff into this information into this mapping system. We'll be able to map it, show it. We could patrol areas that are more likely to have more illegal dumping. We kind of know where these areas are in the county, and we do try to patrol them better. Officer Whaley will sit on this down a dirt road and sit there and have some, somebody has pulled down the road, and he's been able to catch them before they were going to dump the material. So that hopefully that will be a good tool that will help us with illegal dumping.
And if I could ask you, have you seen any improvements since this new campaign and some of these other things have started? Has there been any type of improvement?
Yes, I have, especially out here to the transfer station. I would say we're seeing more people covering their loads properly and securing their loads properly, which has been a good thing. And as I'm coming in and out of my facility, I will stop and roll down my window and thank the person for doing a good job with securing their load.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
I would like to reiterate is that Pitt County, I've been in the garbage business a pretty long time, close to 30 years, and I've worked both in the private sector and the public sector and all over North Carolina and Virginia and Georgia. And I will argue with anybody to this day that Pitt County has the easiest and cheapest way to get rid of your garbage than any place that I've ever been. I mean, we have 14 convenience sites. They're located throughout the county. Pretty much everybody, I would say, is within 2 to 3 miles, maybe 5 miles from a site. And they're open. We're open 7:30 to 7:30 Monday through Saturday, and 2 to 7:30 on Sundays during the summer. And then we drop back to closing at 6 o'clock. But we're open quite a bit. And we were talking earlier on the show about, people throwing litter out. If you stop at a convenience store or get gas, every place has a trash can.
Exactly.
And you can put it in that trash can. And
Exactly.
So it just makes me mad when I see, you can tell some of the litter that's been thrown out, and it's disgusting. I do want to, in one of these recommendations is my recycling coordinator is coming up with a program for fourth graders. And we'll roll this out in January, but we're getting bags, reusable bags made up that we're going to go to the schools and try to get a competition between fourth grade classrooms and have them pick up trash. They can pick it up along their road. They can pick it up if they're going to a ball game or the park to play. They pick up trash, and try to get a little competition between the fourth grade classes, and then finish up around Earth Day, and then give them some kind of some prize for the winning class. But if you get these young kids learning the right way to dispose of their garbage and to clean up something, I think it'll go a long way. I mean, I was always taught when we went out to a park or out on a boat fishing or something like that, went to the beach growing up, my father said, let's bring home more garbage than we brought out. And, I think that's a good idea that we all ought to.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent idea too. So I hope to see you back here with your recycling person that you were talking about in January. But I do want to share a story with our listening audience and you, Mr. DeMary, because this is important. Maybe I think it was about 2 years ago. I had a gentleman in my car. I was taking him back to his house because he came to my home to utilize my home recording studio to record some tracks. So in the route to taking him back to his house, he rolled down the passenger window and threw something out of the window. I kindly pulled over and stopped. I said, let me explain something to you. You see this neighborhood I'm living in, this subdivision? You see how clean it is? We like to keep it that way. I said, let me just explain. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to pull over. Whatever it is you threw out, I'm going to have you pick it up and put it where it needs to go. If it's something illegal, I'm going to drop you off at Winterville Police Station. Do I make myself clear? So he went and picked it up. I knew it was a people's paper. I wanted to get the right thing in his mind. If it was illegal, I was going to drop him off. But I knew it was a piece of paper. I said, look, we're going somewhere near where there's a trash can. Just throw it in the trash. And see, if you do that and everybody in the town does that, imagine what the street would look like. It would look like a landfill. I said, so just go pick it up, put it in your pocket until we get somewhere where there's a receptacle, and then you throw it away the proper way. And so I didn't mean to hurt his feelings or anything like that. It was only us two in the car, but I wanted to make sure I got my point across. Do not throw anything out of my car. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share that with everybody. We have 3 minutes to go for this particular segment, and then we'll be back with our final 10 minutes. Mr. DeMary or Ms. Jacqueline Cullins Williams.
Yes, I had another question. The other day I saw a TikTok and it said that people in the South dispose of their cooking oil, and they showed the woman taking it out the back door and pouring it in a puddle outside in the yard. And so I wanted to talk about, I know that it said here in some of the material that you can dispose of your cooking oil by taking it to a proper site. How do you suggest that people, and that's something that's common that most people use is cooking oil. How do you suggest they dispose of the cooking oil, and also use motor oil?
Those are good questions, and it's time. This is the time of year people use cooking oil more when they fry turkeys and what have you. So every one of our sites has a cooking oil bin that you can go and pour it in there. Again, that stuff is recycled. It's made into other things. So we do recycle that, as well as motor oil. All of our sites have motor oil containers that we take, and that is also recycled into other oil products.
Yeah. And I'm glad Miss Jacqueline Cullins brought that up, because when we first did this topic on clean water and recycling and solid waste in Pitt County, you appeared on the show with Mr. Anthony Whitehead from Greenville Utility, because I was explaining that I did some research, and it was saying how most of that stuff contaminates the water, drinking water, because it's washed down the drainage sewer, the drains, and it's get mixed up with the drinking water, and now your drinking water is contaminated. So that's when I first started this topic. So yes, Miss Jacqueline Collins brought up an excellent question, because you want to dispose of that oil or that grease properly, because you definitely don't want it to mix with the drinking water. That would be totally unsafe, particularly if it's going to contaminate anything, because the other thing applies to when you're washing your vehicle. You might be washing your car at home in the driveway. Think about the contaminants that's being washed down the sewer drain that could possibly mix with the drinking water. So all those things I want everybody to pay close attention to. And without our final 20 seconds, I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, just keep it locked right here to Awesome Radio. We'll be back with the director of solid waste and recycling for Pitt County. We're talking about illegal dumping and littering here in Pitt County. So keep it locked right here to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivation with Glenn. We'll conclude the broadcast when we get back. Back in a moment.
This is Simple Life with Pastor Ron Vietti.
We have been called to obtain an inheritance which is imperishable and undefiled and will not fade away, reserved in heaven for you. Look at the Greek word for inheritance. A possession, a share, a portion, viewed in one sense as present, in another sense as future. See, whatever we have there, we kind of have it here now too. It says you're going to get blessed here and in the future. When we pray the Lord's Prayer, we pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. We're living the kingdom of God right now. Right now. It'll be a lot more enhanced when we get to heaven, but we're living in it right now. We have eternal life right now. We don't wait to get eternal life. We have it right now. Eternal life's a quality of life that just happens to go on.
Simple Life with Pastor Ron Vietti is the radio ministry of Valley Bible Fellowship, a community of people doing their best to love God and love people at changeourcity.com.
My name is Jayla, and you're to see to my papa, Glenn Johnson, on the radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Awesome Radio 106.9 FM, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Once again, we have our special guest, Mr. John Demery, the Pitt County Director of Solid Waste and Recycling. We're going to conclude today's broadcast with his final commentary on illegal dumping, littering, and the 5-point plan that was approved by the commissioners here in Pitt County. Mr. Demery.
Yes, sir. I just want to reiterate some of the things that we did talk about, is just to make sure that we secure your load. If you've got trash that can potentially blow out of your trailer, your truck, please get a tarp and tarp it properly and secure it with bungee cord, straps, rope, whatever you have. And if you've got large items, make sure that they're secured properly, because they can cause accidents, hit the road, split up. we want to keep our environment clean, and I ask and challenge everybody to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
Exactly.
And I know it disgusts everybody, but if we all will help just a little bit, I think our city, our county, our community will be a cleaner place to live.
Yeah, and I just want to go back and thank you for mentioning the about the cooking oil and the motor oil, because I didn't know that I did not know that existed until you brought it up. So I want to thank you personally for that, because every now and then I do have an abundance of cooking oil left over from cooking at my house, especially around the holidays. So no, I know that could be properly disposed of at your facility. So thank you once again.
And anything you mentioned, our website, pittcountync.gov/SWR, solid waste and recycling. There's all kinds of information on there. My phone number's there. My recycling coordinator's phone number's there. So is Deputy Whaley's. Got any questions, feel free to give us a call. We will be glad to answer your questions. And if I don't know what it is or can't help you, I will do my best to find the answer to your question.
That's great. Yeah, I do that website had a slash something, but I couldn't find the document. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm looking for that once again, because it's you want to repeat the website again, sir?
Yes, it's www.pittcountync.gov/SWR.
SWR. Great. Ms. Jackie, you have anything?
I just wanted to also talk about a little bit of the offering cash benefits for recycling. Are there any places here that people can take, like in some cities they have where you can take your cans, there are people that pick up cans and they take them to be recycled, and they're
Yes. Are y'all there?
a cash because our people to recycle.
Yeah. And Mr. Demery, I have the Environmental Enforcement Pitt County Sheriff, Deputy Whaley's information, phone number, office number, including cell phone number. I don't know if you want me to give that out. And
that's fine. That's what it's there for, is so the public can call him if they have a problem. I mean, that's why he has that number.
Legal source and programs, contact Deputy Nick Whaley, Environmental Enforcement Deputy. The office number is 252-902-3357. His cell phone number is 252-414-0378. You can also contact the main office at 252-902-2800. They have a fax number for 252-830-4637. Communication Center non-emergency number is 252-830-4141. And of course, for the emergency, dial 911. The Pitt County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer, PIO, is Sergeant Lee Darnell. You can email him at Lee, L-E-E .Darnell, DARNELL at pittcountydnc.gov. Let me repeat that. That's Lee, L-E-E .Darnell, DARNELL at pittcountydnc.gov. So that's how you get in touch with the Environmental Enforcement Deputy, Pitt County Sheriff's Office. I want to continue with Mr. Demery or Ms. Jacqueline Cullins.
I can answer your question if I heard them right. You wanted to know if there's any places in Pitt County that you can sell recyclables. The only recyclables that I'm aware of would be metals and your aluminum cans. Your scrap yards around the county do purchase aluminum cans, and of course any kind of metal. and refrigerators and washing machines and those types of appliances. You can sell those as well at the scrap yards.
And since you mentioned that, I just thought about something. Would it be up to the manufacturers of soft drinks and what have you to implement the plan 5 cents on return for a can or bottle? Because wouldn't that help out littering and loitering and all that sort of stuff?
I think so. I think there's been some talk in the legislature about that, but I don't think it's gotten very far. I know I'm a member of our Carolinas Recycling Association and a past board member. And those are some things that we've talked about in the past about getting some on deposit.
Yeah.
I think it would work. Yes.
I think that would be an excellent way to improve the environment and perhaps put a little change in people's pockets.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
Because a lot of people do purchase a lot of soft drinks and other kind of beverages or goods that those cans or bottles could be disposed of properly by getting a 5 or 10 cent on the can or bottle. So I think they should bring that back.
Definitely in larger cities, there are some places that still do it.
Yeah.
Where there's a deposit on the bottles and a return. And I can guarantee you there'll be a lot more recycling if there was some monetary return for those items.
Yeah, that's right. Because I'll give you another one short story. When I was at Fort Drum, New York, there was a husband and wife team that had a pickup truck. Their sole job was to load up their pickup truck, the back of the pickup truck, with aluminum cans. Because in New York, they still had the 5 or 10 cent deposit on the can. So they would collect cans from their entire base. Do you know how much money they were making? That was astronomical. And that was back in the late 80s, the last time I was at Fort Drum. So I would imagine now, if it's still going on with the number of cans and bottles that's been used on the base. Then I have Demery of the Pitt County Recycling Center. Mr. Demery.
I'm sorry I didn't hear your question because you faded out on me.
Oh, sorry about that. We're down to our final 1 minute. If you have anything further to share, sir, I'll leave that time to you.
I would just like to say again, reiterate, it's we all can be a part of the solution and not the problem. And let's all just try to be better stewards of our county and our city and in our areas. And let's pick up some litter. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call at my office. And I just appreciate what people do. And
should any of you ladies and gentlemen desire any information that I have in front of me, including the direct website to pittcounty.gov and the recycling laws and things, kindly email me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. I will forward the information to you. Ms. Jackie, you want to close this out?
I just wanted to say that we had a very good show that gave a lot of information, even those that are at home. And so I just want to do a quick closing prayer. We want to thank God for those of us that tuned in today. And we ask that you cover everyone and cause us to be more conscious of our environment in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Mr. Demery.
Thank you.
This is The Man in the Mirror with best-selling author Patrick Morley. Men, it's likely that 50 to 70% of us are going through a major crisis right now. It might be